Hello, I'm Dr. Helen Fu. Welcome to Health Factor. Today, I'm very honored to have a good friend of mine, Becky Blake, as a guest. Becky Blake is a neurodevelopmental specialist and is getting her PhD in psychoneurology. She is an international speaker, which includes speaking at Harvard. #1 best-selling author, Unlock Your Child's True Potential, and she wants to have an impact on medicine and education. Professionals in Madrid called her knowledge the holy grail of healing. Today, we are very happy to have Becky. Welcome to the show, Becky.
Thank you for having me.
It's fascinating to hear your stories and how you get started. So tell us a little bit about what makes you get into this field.
Yeah, so I truly believe I was my first patient. When I grew up, I had a hard time understanding how people talk to each other, how they knew what to say to make friends and things. So even from a young age, I was always studying human behavior. And then when I got older and had children, one of my sons, I have twin sons and then a daughter. One of my sons had autism, was labeled autism, mentally retarded and brain damaged. My daughter had major food and sensory issues, and my other son was labeled with bipolar and oppositional defiant disorder. So I just became a mom on a mission. I wanted the best for my children. I just wanted them to be happy and to create the most compelling future possible for them. So I went on a mission to understand the brain and body and happiness. And so I just went to hundreds of different programs, the typical school, as well as alternative and learning. So it just became a mission of mine to help all three of my children thrive and be happy.
I've heard so many wonderful stories of mothers on mission, right? So that's the biggest incentive and the motivation for you to help your child.
Yes.
And so you have 3 children,
Yes.
and all 3 children had challenging issues.
Yeah.
And so how are they doing now?
They're fabulous. My twins are now 26. They're both
Wow, you
healthy
look young,
and well.
really.
Thank you. It's Holy Grail of healing. That's what Madrid called me. And my daughter's 27 and thriving. And all 3 of them are, when they were 2.5, I was saying I want my children to be tax-paying contributors to society, making happy, healthy choices. And all 3 of my children are thriving, living normal, amazing lives.
Wonderful. And so you also created a program that's helping like hundreds and thousands of children and families. So tell us a little bit more about your program.
So I have 3 different ways of getting my information out to the world. The first one was most of my education was at first through education. So becoming a teacher and having classrooms and working with children. So I would go learn some new technologies, approaches, and then I would be able to use it with my children, and then a morning classroom and an afternoon classroom, and what worked I kept and what didn't work I threw out. So nonverbal kids were talking within 2 days. Children were literally coming out of autism within 3 to 6 months. Better behavior within 2 weeks, reading in 2 weeks, potty trained in 2 weeks. So it's amazing when you have the right information about the brain and body and can teach it to children as young as 18 months old, how change can happen. Yeah.
Wow, that's great results.
Yeah.
What makes your program different with the other programs?
So again, I'm very fortunate to have a photographic memory, so I'm able to retain this information and make connections that other people haven't made. So I was able to see children, look at their behavior, try some modalities with them, see some changes happening, and it's kid tested, kid approved. So it's the children are loving to do these programs, these activities. It's with music, it's fun. And understanding and knowing the child and knowing what they truly want. We all want to be connected. We all want to be loved unconditionally, and we all need to be present within our own bodies. So getting the right information so you're able to do that and connect with others, connect with yourself, it makes the hugest difference. And it's not in our schools. Our schools are academic, reading, writing, math. Where are we learning to honor ourselves and our needs and our, a feeling for love for ourselves and self-care? So like I said, kids as young as 18 months old can learn this information. So,
wow.
Yeah, and it's easy. Within an hour a day is truly all it takes.
So I understand you also go to different countries.
Yes.
Even work with families and people speaking different languages.
Yes.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it is interesting. I've been to Australia. I've been to Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I've been to the UK. I travel literally I'm home maybe 10 days out of the year. I'm literally traveling around from families' home or to schools or to businesses. And everybody is the same. We might speak different languages. We might believe in different religions. We are all the same. Our brains and bodies all work the same way. So this information, even if you're being translated into other languages, it all makes sense, and it's all the same language. It's our brain, our body, the chemistry. We all want to be loved. It's biological. It's literally in our cells.
That's fascinating. And I remember when we had dinner the other night, my friend Jenny Sun, who just came from China, and she speaks Chinese, and she was working with a Chinese child, totally speaking Chinese. You, on the other hand, even though you couldn't understand the Chinese language, but you totally understood exactly what she was doing and she was saying.
Yes, it's amazing because, again, in my program, it's about reading the brain and the body, and all behavior means something. Our behavior is communicating, whether it's good or bad. So even when someone's talking to someone in another language, you can see how people are responding. You know, in my program, and again, in my book, Unlock Your Child's True Potential, I have 5 keys to unlock your child's best them, right?
1 out of 5 keys.
Yeah, 1 out of 5 keys. So one of them is we need to pay attention to stress. When we're in a stress state, we're not digesting, we're not detoxing. It's a very heavy thing that happens to our brain and body, very heavy. Reading behavior, so all behavior means something. So when our ears turn red, it's our vagus nerve saying there's stress somewhere in our body and we need to take a break. So again, kids as young as 18 months old can realize when their ears are red, they need to take a break. So when I was watching Jenny work with this child, his ears were purple, he was very, very stressed. I saw him calm down, I saw him center himself, I watched his ears not turn red, saw him doing, you know, I could totally tell everything that was happening energetically, and through his body, his nervous system was changing. But we need to pay attention. We need to out loud notice and pay attention. But in our society today, everything is so fast that we're not stopping to pay attention and to notice. So we need to read behavior. The 4th one is movement. We need to be moving a lot more. Helen just did a study that Americans only move 11 minutes out of their day.
Wow,
they get up,
11 minutes.
They go to work, they come home, and they go to bed. Everybody's on technology, on computers, on their phones, and they're sedentary. So even thinking about, we're hearing now that autism is an epidemic, but if we truly look back and see pregnant moms, not to blame them at all, but how are they moving? What are they eating? How stressed are they? I truly believe autism happens in utero. Certain systems aren't being strengthened because of lack of movement, lack of proper nutrition, you know, mindset, being in a stress state. So if we pay attention to what truly is important, things can actually change for the better. Nutrition is a huge piece. Know what you're eating, know why you're eating it, know what's, in my program we do a food mood journal. So we're always writing down what we're eating, what we're drinking, and then on the other side of the paper we're writing down what the behavior is, good, bad, nightmares, so we can see a correlation within 10 days if there's a food that's best for us or a food that's not working for us. And again, we can teach children as young as 3, that's a protein, it gave you good energy. Oh, you just ate that candy, now you're having a headache or you're tantruming. So our kids can be making their own choices. And then the last thing is mindset. What we focus on, we get more of. So again, one of my best friends and mentors, Tony Robbins, I've been kind of following him since 1994. He says what we focus on is what we get. So if I would have focused on my son being mentally retarded, brain damaged, not amounting to anything, maybe thinking about institutionalizing him in the future, that's probably what would have happened to him. Instead, I focused on how can I have my son laugh every day? How can I help create the best life possible for my son? Our brains have a reticulating activating system, and it turns on. If you ask the right questions, the resources start coming to you. If I would have thought my son was not ever going to amount to anything, I could have been sitting next to the best resource possible with the perfect answer. But since I'm thinking he's not going to amount to anything, we delete and distort and generalize. So mindset, what we focus on, the questions we ask ourselves, taking care of our own bodies and brains first. Again, it sounds like really simple information, but it's life-changing. It's about connecting with ourselves. It's about loving ourselves. It's about accepting everybody where they are and loving them where they are. You know, it's not good or bad. That's in my program. We look at all behavior as our brains and body saying something, not good or bad. Like when you say a child's having a tantrum, he's having a bad behavior. It's not. He's lying on the floor, covering his ears because it's too loud, or someone next to him smells, so he's flapping his hands, or he has too much energy, so he's flapping his hands. So instead of trying to get rid of these, they call them isms, instead figure out why is the brain and body doing it. So in my program, we know in a stress state, you don't digest or detox. So we need to turn the digestion on before the kids eat. So in my program, we teach kids how to do some massage that makes sure their stomach is turned on, turning on peristalsis. If they're not, a lot of the kids are not eliminating. So there's some massage techniques we can do to help them naturally eliminate. The body and the brain knows how to work when we give it the right information. And it's easy. It can be done through games and music and fun and laughter. And it's amazing the changes that you see in these kids.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And also emotions play such a big, very important role actually, because a lot of people, especially kids, they can't release the emotions. And so there was a lot of blockage because it takes a lot of energy to really hold on to the emotions.
It's never what we think it is.
Yes.
If I have a headache, it's not because my head hurts. It's because maybe I ate some food that's closing some of the systems. Maybe I haven't taken a deep breath for 2 days. Maybe I've been on the computer in a stress state, for 5 hours, and I haven't had a chance to expand my lungs and take a deep breath. So my brain's saying you need oxygen. But it's if I take a pill to get rid of the headache, but I'm still in this state, it's not, it's just masking the problem.
The pill just cut off the pathway of the pain.
Yeah, it's the same way with the children I work with that have been labeled ADHD, and they're giving some kind of Ritalin or some kind of medicine that's going to actually open the brain blood flow to the front part of their brain. But that's not their issue. Their issue is, again, their stress, there's blockages, their body's not getting the minerals it needs. So it's like little gates are closing. They're living from their hind part of their brain, their fight-flight mode. So how are you going to get energy to the front part of your brain is you need to get out of a stress state first. So in my program, it takes about 3 to 6 months to change the brain. Literally the first part of my program is waking up the hind part of the brain, the fight-flight that most of us live in. Then you go to the mid part of your brain where it's the control center, so you can start controlling things around you, you can start controlling your behavior, and then you move to that front part of your brain. So literally, I truly believe we have 2 brains, a left brain and a right brain, and they work well together. So a lot of the children I work with have a very weak corpus callosum connection. So in my program, we reconnect the brain to the body, and then we also connect both sides of the brains together, and it's amazing the things that happen. So, yeah, and it's, again, it's the activities. This is one of my activities. It's drinking through a silly straw. So the silly straw, it will help get kids reading, help get kids potty trained. We only use water drinking through it, so now they're hydrating themselves, so now they have more energy. As we get older, our bodies start to kind of shut down and get a little bit more rigid. So I truly believe that drinking through a silly straw, it works all the sphincter muscles of your body, all the round, smooth muscles. So even like our eyes, I think if more people would drink through silly straws, their eyes, they won't need reading glasses. Us women, as we get older, we get a weakened bladder floor. This strengthens the bladder floor. So
how does it work? Just because of the shape?
Yeah,
or just because you have to use
by drinking, you're actually activating your sphincter muscle here, and it's actually activating all the sphincter muscles, the bowels, the bladder. So in my program, everything's about funness. And now we're drinking more water because we tell kids only water because we don't want it to get moldy on the inside. So only water. So now they're having fun drinking water. Most of the kids I work with, it takes them 2 weeks before they accept water because they want the juices, they want the milks. They're used to something with flavor and texture that water's boring. But you make it fun, now kids are drinking water all day long. So,
can grown-ups use that straw also? Because I would love to try that and drink.
There you go.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so again, it's the little tips, little things, and it's got to be fun, kid-tested, kid-approved. I mean, we could all be more childlike. If we all went around drinking through silly straws, it's kind of silly, but our whole brain, the chemicals in our brain are different. So it's all about having fun. It's all about understanding our brain and body, the right information on what's truly working. Why are we doing things? Why am I eating a protein first? It releases L-tyrosine, so we have better energy. Why do I get tired when I eat a Thanksgiving dinner? It's a lot of carbohydrates, so I'm releasing L-tryptophan. So knowing, if we know, I'm allergic to chocolate. So when I eat chocolate, 24 hours later, I need to sleep for about 20 minutes. So when I grew up, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Nobody said I had a chocolate allergy. So they're saying medications, antidepressants, a lot of things, right? And all I had to do was take chocolate out of my diet. So, but it's understanding what foods are we eating that wake us up or put us to sleep. You know, why are we eating too much carbohydrates? Again, so I truly believe our bodies are craving essential fatty acids. So in the old days, before we modified all our wheat here in the United States, there used to be essential fatty acids in the wheat, and they've actually taken it out so the bread and pastas and stuff last longer. Our brains and bodies don't know that, so we crave carbohydrates because we're craving essential fatty acids. But where is this written, right? Or C-sections. So C-section babies that are being pulled out this way instead of coming through the birth canal, there's a reason why we want our babies to be coming through the birth canal in 18 hours. They're being squeezed. All their joints are being woke up. All their reflexes are going to be integrated through the birth process. This is where we get the probiotics, is through the vaginal wall.
Absolutely.
So pay attention, right? Understand what's missing when you do have a C-section baby, you know, kind of thing. So what can we do to help, you know, optimize development?
Have more challenges, and so they definitely need more help and nutrition. And
one of the things that drives me the most crazy is I hear a child being born that doesn't suck. And so the doctor just says, or the nurse says, just make a bigger hole in the bottle. Sucking is like one of the most major brain neurodevelopmental activities that we need. It helps with bonding, it helps with divisions, it helps integrate both sides of the brain. It's literally one of those skills that we need to do. But knowing that in my program, I can work with a 19, 20-year-old who didn't suck, and there's activities we can do that can actually activate the same symptoms. There's some, we're too big to crawl. Crawling is a major thing, but there's some fun clapping games you can do, or, you know, understanding what we're doing, why we're doing it to optimize our own brains and bodies. I'm 52. I feel like I'm about 39. I'm going to continue.
You look like 25.
Thank you. I'm going to continue to do my program because I know my brain and body, and I understand my brain and body, and that's what I want everybody else to do. Understand why we're doing what we're doing, whether it's a good thing, a bad thing. Is it strengthening our brains and bodies? Does this make us feel good? And know that we can all live more happy lives. We can all be happier.
So your program, is that for kids only, or
it's for everybody? I say it's for anybody with a brain, a body, and a nervous system. My story is I have 3 children that had unique needs, and so my life focused on that. I was working with a child who was nonverbal autistic, and his mom had just had a brain tumor removed, so she had chemo brain. She was anxious, she didn't have short-term memory, depressed, she literally wanted to kill herself. So I told her to go home and do the same program she was doing with her son to herself. Within a month, she no longer had chemo brain.
Wow.
So I worked with my son at 17, crashed his motorcycle, broke his neck, died for 3 minutes, and had major brain injury at 17. This is the same one that was diagnosed with autism. So at 17, we get him out of autism. Now he crashes. And then I come to find out my program works with brain injury. So Denmark, the government, was actually paying me to go work with children with brain injury. So again, it's waking up those centers. So and we have studies that show parts of the brain starting to light up with some of the activities that these children and adults are learning to do. So it's just a new understanding.
How do people find you? And if they're interested in working with you, is it possible for them to just contact you, or go to your website?
Yeah, I have a website, creatingsuperkids.com. I'm on Facebook under Becky Blake Autism if they want to see some videos on the work I do. And my mission is to change education and medicine on how we deal with stress and how we look at stress, knowing that there's better ways to help people live the thriving lives that we all dream of. That's actually our birthright. Contact me and we can see how we can work together. I'm working on licensing my school program. I'm working on an online training program to train people and certify them in the work that I do. We're creating apps, mobile apps and software, so more people can just plug in their information, understand what brain and body parts are strong, which parts are weak, and how to best help themselves. So literally by paying attention to it, when your ears get red, you should be out of a stress state within a minute. Drink water, breathe, go outside, you know, think of happy thoughts, and you should be out of a stress state. And our kids, literally as young as 18 months old, understand this information.
So what's your strategy? How to get out of the stress state quickly?
First of all, it's knowing when we are in a stress state. And so our red ears are connected to, it's our vagus nerve. Our 10th cranial nerve innervates all our soft organ tissues. And if there's stress anywhere in our bodies, our ears will turn red. So even for all of us, when our ears get hot, it means take a break. In a minute, you should be out of a stress state. It's that simple.
How about, I mean, is it always true that when you're stressed, then your ears will turn red? How about for some people, their ears won't turn, but they are still stressed? They have
That means they
chronic
don't have a
stress.
vagus nerve, so that's not possible. We can have stress, like I need to pay taxes, I have this bill due, I don't know where my son or daughter is. I mean, we can have brain stress, but as soon as it affects our lungs or our heart or our kidneys, our ears will turn red. And that it's just the body sign to say, pay attention.
So what's your vision in the future? What do you think you are going to do in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
Yeah. So again, my mission is to help 1 million people help 1 million people. So I want this information just to get out to the world. And I want to see people be more happy. I want to hear people saying what they want to be doing. I just want we all have a vibration. And I just want this vibration to be raised. And so with some really happy, fun, easy information that's actually really complicated brain, body, chemical systems, but everybody can understand this. Like I said, kids as young as 18 months old. So if we can get this into the schools, if we can get this into teacher trainings, if we can get this into doctor trainings, it's just a new way of understanding the brain, the body, the nervous system, and how we can all thrive and be happy. I'm very fortunate to do what I do because I get to see people go from being dark, hopeless, into just within weeks, it's bright lights and thinking about their future. And it's about creating compelling futures, the most creating, compelling future possible. And it can happen at any age. You could be 18 months old, you could be 105, and we can all raise our vibrations. We can all self-love. My heart aches. And the reason I do what I do at the level that I do it is because I know there's people out there suffering. I know there's children crying, so this information is just it's gonna heal nations.
I understand that actually you are flying to Hawaii tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would love to go with you, but my schedule is packed. It's my favorite place to go.
It's
you are going
amazing.
to work with another family, and for how long?
Depending on the child's issues, if they're nonverbal autistic, it's the first, it's 5 days, and then they get a couple more visits. If it's already neurodevelopmentally well child, it could be just for the weekend. If it's an adult that I'm working with, it could be a weekend. So it depends on the people, what they want, what their brains and bodies need. Again, you could just read my book. You can just go look at my videos on YouTube, and you're going to get the information that you need. Yeah.
So usually when you go and stay with the family, you literally stay with the family the whole time, live with them.
In their house.
And so in their houses, probably different living conditions. And
oh, yeah.
And so tell us like a story.
Yeah, so I've flown all over the world. I'm very non-judgmental. And usually the first thing they say is, our house is too small, or our house is too messy. I'm like, I don't care, I'm coming to work with your child. So I was in a home in Denmark that it's a family sleeping arrangement. They all 1 bedroom, so they didn't have a place to put me, so they put me in a closet. They literally cleaned out the closet and put a mattress in there because they thought I needed my privacy. So I worked with a beautiful family in New York, a little boy with lead poisoning. We got him out of lead poisoning within 7 months. They lived in an 800 square foot apartment, so mom, grandma, and baby slept in the bedroom, and dad slept on the couch. So when I came, dad had to go to the sister's house so I could sleep on the couch. So again, it's about living with the family. It's about seeing how we need to raise our expectations, especially our children with autism. There's nothing wrong with their brains. It's our expectations. If I see a child who's nonverbal, I'm going to talk to them like they're verbal because I know they have a language center and their ears are working. They're just not able to get the sound out. But a lot of families will think or be trained by professionals, your child's nonverbal, so don't talk to him. He doesn't understand anything you're saying. These kids understand everything we're saying.
Wow.
So to actually talk to them like they are well and whole, because that's our intentions. If we focus on our children being well and whole, they can become well and whole. you know, to a certain level, depending on the brain, if it's a deletion or, you know, damage or whatever. But most of the children I work with autism that don't have chromosomal deletions can become, the kids that went to my school left my school from special ed and went into highly capable, higher education programs. These kids are amazingly smart. So, but our expectations need to be raised. They need to have chores. They need to be respectful. They need to say hello when they meet people. I mean, we have manners. Just because you have autism doesn't mean all manners go out. And even Temple Grandin says that. She says there's bad behavior and then there's autistic behavior. A child crying at the store because they're not getting what they want, that's not autistic behavior, that's bad behavior, right?
Yes.
So again, it's all about perspective. It's all about our expectations. It's about us as parents, us as educators, us as professionals raising our expectations, and these kids' brains and bodies will raise up to our expectations.
This is so interesting. So last word of wisdom to our audience.
Yes, last word of wisdom is life is about connection, it's about love, and it's about, I truly believe when we have challenges and we get ourselves out of the challenges, that should be our mission in life. So I was gifted with 3 unique children. Before that, I owned a hair salon. I didn't want to have children. And so I'm gifted with these 3 beautiful children that gifted me with now my mission, my mission. So I truly believe when we get out of ourselves and help other people is when we're not suffering ourselves. So when we do self-love, self-care, and then we're out helping other people with love, authenticity, gratitude, our lives change because our vibrations go so high. And it's amazing to surround yourself with people that are doing this. So I truly believe we are going to have a shift. I truly believe our children that are now labeled autistic, bipolar, whatever, these are going to be our kids that become well and change the world. I truly believe, I call them my autism army. Their brains are thinking different, they've experienced things differently, and when they can grow up and be well, they're going to be the ones changing medicine, changing education, changing, because there's a whole, nature is taking care of itself. There's going to be a huge revolution shift because of the children that we're being gifted with now. So, and it's moms on a mission, it's dads on a mission, professionals, it's the people that's making this their mission is to heal these children. And again, children are perfect just the way they are. It's not like I'm saying they need to change. I'm just saying that we can all live better, happy, quality lives.
We just need to understand them better and support them better.
Yes, read their behavior, understand what their brains and bodies are saying, and love them unconditionally. Love them for who they are. Love ourselves for who we are.
I've learned so much from you today. Thank you so much. Wow, so I've learned a lot today, and I'm sure that you probably picked up a couple of things that I think that, oh, I didn't know that. There is so much we don't know that we don't know. I'm just so happy that we have this chance to hear Becky tell us about her stories. And so we just hope that you probably need to change some of the perspective and think differently and look at your child differently now and think what we can do to help each other with love. Stay healthy. See you next time.